Welcome back, listeners. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Boss Lady Conversations. This is season 2. And who am I? I am Monica L., Cleveland born, LA raised, on a journey of freedom and happiness as an educator, entrepreneur, self published author, and poet. I believe all things are possible through synergy. Let's get it. My IG handle is at Monica L_writer.
Hello. I'm your girl, Coach Kaya. I'm a boss wife, mompreneur, sister, writer, and certified transformational coach. I help people access their power while healing the trauma of their past so that they can actually reignite their dreams and manifest the miracles that matter in their lives today. My IG handle is at I am Coach Kaya. We want to take this moment to thank our friends who have become listeners and our listeners who have become our friends. We really appreciate you supporting Boss Lady Conversations. As Monica L. said, this is season 2. And we are praying and working really hard to expand this vision that God has given us so that we can support even more boss ladies in the future. This is a movement. So if you have someone that wants to be a part of the show, if you just want to reach out to us and give us your feedback, please email us at bossladyconversations@gmail.com.
Yes, and thank you, Coach Kaya. And this has truly been a labor of love. We had a vision, and if we are not a testimony that your visions can become reality, you just never know. Never put obstacles on yourself. And I hope that you heard that through us. Coach Kaya is on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, and we're making this work. And we are just so thankful for all the talent who's come to join us in this movement, and everyone who is following us on IG at Boss Lady Conversations. It touches our soul. And like Coach Kaya said, there are many things on the horizon. So you just got to stay on board. You got to stay on board, stay with us, share us, like us, do everything possible because we appreciate you. And we know that you appreciate us because time is the most valuable thing you can give anyone. And we're really thankful for God for giving us this platform for creativity, growth, mindset, healing, support, and intentionality. Our mission has always been to give you a space to learn, grow, and contribute. We want you to walk away from Boss Lady Conversations feeling inspired, imaginative, hopeful, creative, abundant, and bossed up. Boss up about what really matters most in your life.
Yes, and today's topic is bossing up by understanding the recruitment process so that you can secure your dream career with Charla, the Candid Recruiter. And I just want to say that I am so excited about this topic. So many times boss ladies don't learn how to boss up. We think that if we work really hard and we stay up late and don't have a personal life and never take vacation, that people are going to notice us and value us. And out of the kindness of their heart, they're going to give us more money, the money that we deserve. Well, I think we all know that that's a lie by now. And it's just so important that we have someone like Charla who has our backs, that can give us those inside tips and say, girl, you thought you were doing the right thing, but here's that gem. Here's that tip that can actually change your life. When you think about it, your career impacts your whole generation, not just you. And so that's why you do have to find your inner boss, whether you're working for someone else. First of all, hold on. We know so many boss ladies that have 4 jobs right now. Right now, in this moment. They got their 9 to 5, they've got their 5 to 9, they've got their weekend situation, they are doing some publishing, selling some merch. There's a lot going on, and all of it is needed. And it's just such a blessing that we have someone like Charla on the show today, a part of our Boss Lady Conversations movement that will really help us to grow and to recognize those areas that maybe we never learned before.
I know that's right, Coach Kaya, because I like what you said. You said 9 to 5, 5 to 9. 2 to 4, right? Anytime in between, and and just figuring out what it is, and also, like you say, having that balance, all that working hard. Yes, in some aspects, it does pay off. And then sometimes you just feel like you're just overlooked and burnt out. So let's figure out how to manage and get the rewards that is due to us, but also not forsaking our health. And when we talk about health, we're talking about mental and physical and emotional health. So yes, yes, yes. Get it, Coach Kaya.
I love that you said that, Monica L, because we really do need to check off the boxes. When I work with people in terms of my coaching business, I always tell them like to evaluate those areas of their lives that they feel are going well. And we look at your life as a whole. There's not just like, oh, you got this great career, yet there's Cambodia going on in your home. Like, you have to really look at your life in a holistic way, because if one area is not satisfactory, it can bleed into all of the other areas. And then it becomes a real problem. So we know that this is a big deal. And let me tell you more about this boss lady. She is not only bossed up, she's actually practicing what she preaches. Charla Baker-Jackson, the Candid Recruiter and career strategy coach, is a native of Dayton, Ohio, a graduate, and we know how Ohio women get down. Okay, amazing boss ladies all day. They never quit under any circumstances. Okay, unless it's time to secure a bigger bag and more blessings. Let's just say that. A graduate of the Ohio State University, where she got her BA, and the University of Southern California, where she got her MA, Charlotte's commitment to connecting great talent with great brands has led to invaluable career opportunities spanning across an array of industries, including entertainment, advertising, media, financial services, and technology. In the summer of 2020, Charla launched a staffing agency and talent repository with diversity and inclusion initiatives at its core. The Career Collective Group partners with organizations and prospective candidates, functioning as a catalyst to merge powerful professional connections. So that's the inside scoop, okay? Charla is a published author, inventor, the recipient of the Urban League's To the Nines Award for emerging leaders, and the recipient of the Ohio State University's 40 Leaders Award. Charla resides in the Los Angeles area, and she remains laser focused as a content creator, public speaker, recruiting leader, and career educator under her The Candid Recruiter brand.
Woo! Whoa, yes. Now, if that's not a boss lady preview for you, and I mean, it really ties in, Coach Kaya, with our last show with Ashley. She gave us so many jewels. And I mean, and Sharla, I mean, we met through a mutual friend many, many moons ago. And I would just say, this is a true boss lady. She got my resume together. I mean, I was like, yes, like what? Yes, because my format, everything was just, never mind. Anyway, she got me together. And from that, we've had a lot of amazing business opportunities. So I am so, so excited. I mean, this is just an opportunity for all the boss ladies.
Phenomenal. So without further ado, we know you are all ready to meet this amazing queen. Let's give a warm Boss Lady Conversations welcome to Charla Baker-Jackson, the Candid Recruiter.
Hello. Oh my goodness. I feel like I could run a marathon. I love that intro. Like, thank you. That just gave me such an amazing boost of energy. And I'm just so happy and grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, thank you for joining us. Our job is to pour into our guests because you are giving your time, your wisdom, and we want you to feel the love. And then we know that everyone's going to feel the love. So no, thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yes. Because we know clearly you got a lot going on and we can't jump right into these questions because I want to know, like, where do I go? How do I apply? How do I interview? Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Ask away. I'm looking forward to this conversation. And, yes, whatever I can offer to your viewers, your audience. I just love, again, the energy. And I think that it's so important to feed it so into one another and encourage one another. And so that's what I'm here today for, to help, encourage your audience and hopefully motivate and inspire someone to pursue their career or make a shift or whatever it may be, whatever life phase they find themselves in.
Amen. So,
Yes.
Sharla, tell us, if you could choose one book or a song that describes your boss lady journey, which one would you choose and why?
Okay, well, first and foremost, I would choose my book.
I know that's right. Get it, boss lady.
I have a novel that I wrote and self-published called A Brand New Jazz in 2010.
Yes.
And writing that book, it took so long because, when I started it, I was at one phase of life. And then midway through, I had a life shift. And then towards the end, I was a completely different person, right? And so I chose that book. And I started to say Michelle Obama Becoming, because obviously that's an amazing book too, that has definitely inspired me. But again, I think, just in saying with the theme, with what you all said in the intro, we have to start looking at self-care and self-acknowledgement and self-reflection and recognizing our gifts and our influence. And so when I thought about all this, I said, you know what? I haven't pulled this book off the shelf in a minute, but when I think about it, I think about how I was really struggling with conformity when I initially started this book, because I had graduated from USC with a master's, and, everyone was like, well, go get a job. You have this prestigious degree from this amazing university. It's time to go to work, right? And in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, yeah, school was great, but it was also kind of just a buffer. It was also kind of like to help me pace, because I really didn't know what was going on with my life, and I wanted that extra year or two of cushion after coming out of undergrad at The Ohio State University. Ohio, Monica. Are you from Ohio, Coach Kaya?
I'm from Jersey.
Okay, all right, East Coast, Midwest.
Right. Yeah. We all connected. We all connected some kind of way. Yes.
And so, I was at a point in my life where it was like, okay, I'm not ready. I came out here to California really because I'm a creative, but I don't really know what that means and how to explore and how to clearly communicate, who I am with others without judgment or fear of judgment. Because I really want to be a creative and I really want to write and I really want to do this and that. And, and a lot of people don't understand that mentality, especially if you pursue higher education. It's like, okay, the next step, go get a job, get some benefits. All right. And move on. And so, my book inspired me, it inspires me still in a lot of ways. Because I see the not even the full circle, because obviously we're always evolving, but I see the growth and evolution of myself as a woman.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And definitely you are touching on so much of me and Coach Kaya. We are creatives as well. We are writers, we are authors, we're poets. We are. If there's something that's dealing with writing, that's us. Yes. So we commend you on doing a novel, because we know that takes a lot of time and dedication. Yes. And being self-published. We talked about self-publishing in a couple other episodes. And so we do commend you for that. You kind of already touched upon the second question. So I might tweak it a little bit about your biggest obstacles today. Because you talked about that, when you graduated and just what's the next step. So beyond that obstacle, what would you say, what has been your biggest obstacle in this pandemic and with your business?
In the pandemic and with my business, I would say what I think a lot of people have dealt with, and that's just balance. I was accustomed to working remotely because about 5 years ago, longer than that now, time flies.
Yes.
I'd say about 6, 7 years ago, when I decided to step out on my own and really work as a consultant. So for a while, I would work and partner with different corporations and go in as a talent acquisition consultant without having, like a 9 to 5 at any one particular place. And I knew then that balance was very important to me because I was a mom of 3 small kids. And my husband, it was just important that I found a little bit of balance. And coming from the role that I had prior to that, I was at TMZ. I was the head of staff. I created their HR and talent acquisition department at TMZ.
Wow.
And so,
hold
you
up, and
can
that wasn't
imagine.
even on your resume. That wasn't even on the bio. I just want to be clear. You just threw that out there.
That is huge. Like TMZ
Yes,
and
yes.
HR.
So I was at Fox. I would say Fox was a really big part of shaping my craft as a recruiter. And then Harvey Levin found out about me through a referral. He and the late great Jim Paratori found out about me, and they were looking to build and develop or really legitimize, I think, the employee populace at TMZ because there were a lot of people who were great, but didn't necessarily have the skill set or foundation to sustain a website getting 200 million views, right? So they brought me in to really handle that and to build and hire their technology leaders, social media leaders, to help, really legitimize, I think, and add to the credibility of their network. And so when I was there, once obviously I'm sure you can imagine production, news, 24/7 cycle. And I remember getting phone calls the 2 times that I went to Disneyland with my family on a random Saturday. I don't go to Disneyland often, but for some reason that year I went twice.
Wow.
Got a call on those Saturdays about something work related. And it was like, I'm standing in line at Space Mountain.
I cannot help you right now.
I'll see what I can do when I get off the ride. And I realized, something has to change. And so as I moved into my career as a consultant, I said, okay, any opportunity that I take, I don't mind the in-person engagement, but it will be no more than 2 times a week.
Hey.
So before the pandemic, I was working remotely, okay?
Right. I love
now,
that.
The difference, because I led with that. I always tell people, you have to know your deal makers and your deal breakers, right? No one understands those. And once you understand your deal makers and your deal breakers, you're able to move forward. And I also say, when I think of compromise should never go below your bottom line, right? So what you determine to be your bottom line, that's the bottom line of the compromise. Don't go below that because that's still an acceptable level and lifestyle or whatever it is that you can deal with, right? And so I knew that I had to continue that balance. And so during the pandemic, the challenge I faced was I wasn't used to working at home with 3 kids who were homeschooling at 3 different times. Right? So that was the biggest challenge to overcome. And I learned a lot about discipline and my own self-discipline, and being able to multitask and prioritize and being able to exclude myself and find my personal private space amid the chaos and being like, it's okay. I don't want to lock my kids out the house, but hey, you have a big gated backyard, you know what I'm saying? Go enjoy yourself and let me get this moment to really cleanse and clear my mind every day. And so that became a practice, which I guess really is a form of meditation, just really having that time to myself with no interruption. That's, what I learned. And I think what came out of, obstacles that I dealt with during the pandemic.
Very powerful. Very powerful. And it's so funny you said that. I think when you're a mother, you really understand how working remotely can change your life for the better. It is not optional because I tell Monica all the time, I'm on call. If they call me and say you got to come to the school, it's a wrap.
That's
They
right.
don't want to hear anything. They're like, "Are you here yet?" I'm like, "I'm on the phone with you. I'm still talking to you. I
Yes.
didn't hang up yet. I'm on my way."
Right. Right. And a lot of people don't understand that. And it's interesting because when I'm coaching my clients, so through the Career Collective Group, it is a firm that specializes in direct hire placement primarily, but I also have a coaching service, so career coaching service, where I coach people through anything career related to help them achieve their professional best. And when I think about some of the conversations that I've had with moms, but with people in general, I always say, when you're accepting an offer, because a lot of people come to me before, they're about to interview or they have salary negotiation questions or offer related questions. And I always say, what are the benefits that they offer, right? And when we think benefits, we think, do they have a 401k plan? Which I'm not a big fan of, but that may be a whole nother episode. Do they have vacation time, sick time, etc., right? As a parent, we have to factor in our children with that sick time. And that's a mistake that I've made in the past, right? That benefits package has to really include their world, their lifestyle, how, whatever's happening in their world may disrupt my life at work, right? Whether it's remote or in person, right? Because 5 sick days with some kids, that's gone in, right? Right? So
It's
it's
gone in
always,
1 month, right?
yes, so it's always
Damn.
interesting to me how many people don't think about the total compensation package. Is this role, does it give me opportunities to grow professionally, educationally, right? Do they offer some type of program? Do I want to be a parent at some point? And if so, do they have some type of fertility program? There are a lot of companies that have benefits that aren't on the surface. And you have to really dig beneath the top line, to really understand what these companies offer. And to really, again, determine your deal breakers, right? And your deal makers, and what that means for you in terms of your total compensation package. And making sure that before you commit, you understand and are in alignment with what your true needs are and what your bottom line is, right? And not compromising below that.
Powerful, Charla. Powerful. I'm really glad that you said that. You also mentioned like people finding out about you as a turning point in your career. And I wanted to know, how do boss ladies stand out when it comes to gaining access to high level opportunities while setting boundaries? Because, a lot of people have masters now. Like, it's just like everybody's kind of has some sort of resume.
Yes, a saturated market in terms of skills, in terms of talents, gifts, right? I think that really comes down to being strategic and proactive. I've noticed through coaching, a lot of people have goals, but no plan, no strategic plan, right? And so when I think about where I want to be down the line, I think, okay, if I want to get there, yes, I can say it. Let me speak it into the universe, right? But if I'm not writing down actionable items that are realistic to achieve, right? There's always the end goal, but there's 30 steps between today and that end goal, right? And so often we think about all the different steps without saying, okay, what's step 1 through 5? Let me just focus on step 1 through 5 right now over this next month or so, right? I have this goal. I know I want to work at this particular company, or I want to do this or that. What is step 1 through 5? And then working through those, right? Because that makes it tangible, that makes it doable and less overwhelming, right? And it relieves the pressure a bit because you're not so focused on the long term, you're focused on What is 1 through 5? Then once I've conquered that, okay, now it's time to really look at 6 through 10. And when I work with my clients, I often break it down in terms of the annual quarters, right? So I think about the quarters throughout the year. So Q1, that's step 1 through 5. We're going to hold each other accountable, right? Still keeping your boundaries in play, but being extremely realistic in terms of what you can do immediately versus and understanding the long-term impact that will ultimately have, which will hopefully result in the goal being accomplished, right?
I love that. Because, to be 100% transparent, which I always am, I didn't even know it was a whole bunch of steps. I thought it was, you got your resume, you got your cover letter, you go to Indeed or LinkedIn, you find a job and you apply. And that has not worked for me. But
because look, a step could be, I want to work at Dream Company A, right? Or let's say, I don't know, Netflix. Okay, a lot of people want to work at Netflix, right? Or in streaming or, different places, there's so many different places, right? Yeah. So let's say that someone wants to work somewhere at a particular company and, they've applied, they're, keep applying, they're looking for updates, right? And then, they're not hearing back. Okay, well, what's something that I could do? Well, I can go on LinkedIn. I can see who I may be connected to, who works there. I can try to engage with them. A proactive step would be to do a virtual coffee, or now we can do an in-person coffee, right? And so thinking of ways that, it's not, those are checks off because, we've all heard the saying, we want to be in a position where our names are being mentioned in rooms before we walk through those doors, right? Well, that's how you do it, by planting those seeds. Yes. Every step of the way, planting those seeds. And some seeds, I always use this example when I do like coaching or I've done public speaking. I always say, I think about my goals and the steps that I want to take. It's like having a bunch of seeds in my hand, right? And I go out and I throw them up in the air and they're going to fall, right? Whatever happens, happens, right? And so we're not going to see that immediate growth of those seeds, right? But some are going to fall, they're going to fertilize, they're going to get in the soil, they're going to fertilize, and they're going to bloom. And eventually that's an accomplishment of a goal, right? Some are going to blow away. The wind is going to blow some of them away. Some of them are just going to dissolve and never reach the ground at all, right? To even have a chance at fertilization. So I think it's important to, as you're thinking about your goals and as you're thinking about, what it is that I want to do, don't just think about the long-term point, getting that job offer, signing that letter, right? Think about how you can build and connect, right? Because the more and more you connect, ultimately, it's going to all come together and you'll reap the harvest. Ultimately.
I love that because I'm definitely a visual person and I can see that. So thank you for sharing that knowledge. And you're absolutely right. When I think about my career path and how I got here, it was really based on that. It wasn't based on sending out a million resumes, or when I think about my consulting opportunities, it was based on relationships, not, just cold calling and things like that. So you're absolutely right. Now, so with that, you, as Kaya read your bio, that was amazing and impressive, and you still got more stuff to add to it as we are learning. What would you say, like companies come to you looking for a certain type or a certain caliber of candidates, and who are those candidates that they're looking for your special division?
That is correct. So I would say through over the last year and a half, it's interesting because I started out wanting it to just strictly be a staffing agency, thinking, okay, how can I build this repository of all this amazing talent, all different levels, and really identify diverse talent within that repository as well. And so that is the case, that still is happening. But as a result of my network, the universe had different plans, in terms of how things would evolve. And so one of my former colleagues who was a senior executive in HR, she reached out to me one day and said, "Hey, I saw that you started your own business. I saw something on LinkedIn. Do you know who Tracy Ellis Ross is?" I was like, what? I love her, of course. I didn't say, I said, "Oh, yes, yes."
Hello, Diana Ross' daughter,
That definitely
girlfriend.
sounds like something I'd be interested in, whatever it is. I'd love to hear more, right?
Right.
That was my response. But inside, I was like,
Yeah.
and so what it was her sister-in-law, my colleague's sister-in-law worked for her, Tracy, and they were looking for someone to do a direct placement for a senior level marketing executive. And I said, "Hello, yes, sign me up." And so my first client after, getting my LLC was Miss Tracy Ellis Ross and the Pattern Beauty team. And so it was an amazing, amazing gift because that was obviously something I'd done. I'd hired many executives in my past, but it really helped me to see myself as, hey, you have a lot of the skills to hire executive level, C-suite level people. And a lot of people on that level who are diverse. So what an amazing opportunity to really be that bridge and that connection between, the brand and this amazing talent, especially, if it's an opportunity to present a diverse candidate.
Right.
And so, to your point also about the resume, I don't think I've applied for a job really in 15 years.
Whoa.
We've been
Every
hearing that.
opportunity that's come my way. Now my resume stays ready, right? You always want to have your
Right.
portfolio together. But every opportunity I've had has been the result of connections and
Wow.
making people feel good,
Right. I love it.
As the great Dr. Maya Angelou said, right? I don't remember the exact quote, but we've all heard it again. People don't remember exactly what you said or what you did, but they remember how they felt as a result.
That's right.
And so every room I move in, I try to at least have a positive impact or some impact, so that, it makes people feel pleasant. And it's worked to my advantage through the years in getting and securing opportunities.
Wow.
And I'm not
Amazing.
alone. I
Listen
mean,
to your
that's
stories all day. They are
Yeah.
so exciting. All we hear is like Black woman winning.
Yes.
Yes, here for that. Here for that. I wanted to know, how do you think the Great Resignation has impacted women of color specifically?
That's a great question. I think it's allowed us to tap into our desire to want freedom, right? Freedom professionally, personally, just in terms of lifestyle, financially, right? We know our power. So it's always existed. But we have always had this propensity to help nurture the gifts in others. And I think while that's a good thing, as Monica L. said in the beginning, with self-care and, mental health, we can't stop nurturing others and sowing into others, but at the same time, we have to prioritize our own self-care and ourselves, right? And I think the pandemic allowed us to do that as Black women, because I know you all are probably like me. We have at least 5 to 10 things that we could do. Start a business, braid some hair, do something, right?
Absolutely.
Somebody asked me, who braided your daughter's hair? I have a 7-year-old daughter. I said, me? And I thought to myself, stream of income if I ever need it.
Absolutely.
You got a customer right here.
Right.
Right. Yes. So, yes.
You touched upon that, and we talked about that too, because we grew our and launched our podcast in the pandemic. We published books, we've written books in the pandemic.
Yes.
It's a lot of things that we have done. So the fact that you said that, and you're right, the self-care, like we figuring out how to balance all this with a full-time job, husband, children, just everything. And you're right. We can name off at least 5 things we could do, and how to get there too, but also making the most out of our time and doing the things that's most beneficial. Because, we're not in our 20s no more. So we ain't got time to be, we got to prioritize what's important and what makes sense for us.
Absolutely.
So speaking on those terms, because I know I could tell that you're already thinking years and years ahead, because you talked about that, with the opportunities presenting themselves. We manifest positivity on Boss Lady Conversations. So where would you see yourself at in the next 5 years?
And just to preface it, Charlotte, we want that scary dream that you may have never stated out loud.
Yes. And you know why I love that? Because that's what we do to ourselves, right? We don't say, this is what I want. And so I do these Motivational Monday posts every Monday on my Instagram page. And I always pick a topic that I'm dealing with, right? And I recently I've talked about the power of manifestation, but I also have talked about the power of prayer and intention, and praying with specificity and intention, right? So often we may say, Lord, bless me, give me a lot of money, right? Bless my family, bless my health, right? We speak in general terms typically, right? Instead of saying, Lord, I want to own the top of that building next year, right? I want to own an investment property at the top of this building on Wilshire, right? And that's not necessarily my dream, but I'm just saying to show how intentional and how specific the power we should be with even our prayers, right? So for me, I see myself as a multi-millionaire. Okay. And I see myself motivating and inspiring people with my gifts. And I see myself having my own television show. And that's something that I've always wanted. And that's why I came to California. But again, there were things in my life and influences that put fear in front of me. Right? And held me in this bondage, mental bondage, in terms of being afraid to really to share with others what I really wanted, So I would say, I want to help others. Okay, but what does that really mean? How do you want to help others? And I think that it's so important to speak those things and to be intentional about that. So that is my dream. In 5 years, I want to be creating content, and I want the content to be able to be distributed on a global level.
That's right.
Whatever that may mean. If it's multiple television shows, if it's, I'm rebranding, I'm a patented inventor. So I'm rebranding my product with a cool, amazing marketing partner that I have. And so, my dream is to continue to walk with intention and to ask for the real goals, that I think about when no one's around. And so I love that question. Thanks for asking. And we'll see. Let's check back in 5 years.
Oh,
absolutely.
It's done. And we really hold space for that. It means so much to us that you would share that here. And we feel your energy, and we know that there's nothing you can't do. So we're excited.
Thank you,
like, hey, did you see Charla? She was on our show. Okay.
Right. We're gonna run it back. We're We're like, see, she said it. She said it first here. Boss Lady Conversations. Trust, you can check in with us every year, every season. Yes. I see it happening. Again, you're here. And the way I like to think about things because, again, we all have a creative soul. I feel like Coach Kaya has a very similar story to yours. I had a similar story, but didn't progress it as far, in my adult career. And I think it's all about your path, and it adds the content to your story. And it also makes it more meaningful when you reach that goal because you really went through something to get that goal.
Absolutely.
It's not something that you just woke up one morning and you got it. And so you may not have appreciated as much, but now when you get it, you're gonna be like, whoo.
Yes. And that I love that you say that, because that has been a part of really my restorative, like my healing process and for self-forgiveness process, right? Because, opportunities come and, again, that fear is and there have been those times where it's like, okay, this is an opportunity being handed to me on a platter. How did I talk myself out of that opportunity? But when the Lord has something for you, it will circle back. That cycle is serious, ain't it?
It is.
And that's the beauty of it. But in that, I've come to appreciate the power of being seasoned, right?
Yes.
Being seasoned.
Yes.
And I was just telling someone how, because I always call myself the Susie Orman of career. You know how Susie Orman is finance expert? I'm the Susie Orman of career, right?
I love that.
And that's the vision that I have for myself. And I was speaking with someone before about this because Oprah is someone who obviously is inspired everyone on earth. Right?
Yes. We love Oprah.
So I don't want to be cliche, but I think it's real. I mean, she's a powerful just inspiration to so many people for so many years. And I remember thinking about this recently, to your point, Monica L., in that when you look at people like Dr. Phil, Steve Harvey, Iyanla Van Zant, right? Susie Orman, all that whole entire crew that Oprah found, right? They were experts in their areas, in their craft for decades before the world got to meet them. And look at the power they've had as a result, right? So I started to think, as I made it through the 20s and then the 30s, and now I'm in my 40s, it's like, that's all right. When it happens, it's supposed to happen. And look at how much more prepared I am as a result.
Absolutely. I love that.
As a result of the trajectory.
Exactly. Right. And there is respect for people who are seasoned too. Because everybody gonna want to read your bio before you start talking. They'll be like,
that's right.
Yeah. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, I love all the love, just our smiles. And I mean, the vibrations is just high. You don't touch on so many things. It just feel like you're pouring into our soul, and you know us already. Yes.
You are, for sure.
Yes.
Thank you. And same here. Yes.
Thank you. So, Sharla, I wanted to know, what are 3 overlooked interviewing or negotiation jewels that you'd like to share with our boss ladies today?
Let's see. I think I shared one with, understanding the benefits package, right? I think that as people pursue jobs, look beyond just the dollar signs, right? It's hard to do because, that's what our survival is based on, financial compensation, the monetary piece. But look for the value in other areas, right? Think about what is, going to that question about the 5-year plan where you see yourself. Think about that for the next company that you go to. What is their vision? What is their plan for me? Ask those questions in an interview, right? Don't be afraid to ask, what has been your path, right? I always tell people, look on LinkedIn and see how many times the people you've met with were promoted at the company that you're looking to join, right? Utilize the resources, because oftentimes you can find through your own research everything you need to know about the truth of a company, right? The fabric of an organization, right? If you look for it. But so often we're just following the dollar signs. We're looking at the title and ready to sign that offer letter. And then 6 months later, it's like, this isn't what I signed up for. Oh, there's no growth. Oh, there's no department for me to move into, and you get it. So I think, that would definitely be one. I think another one would be, as I said, mapping out really an action plan, right? We talk about vision boards. I did an action board party with a group of Black women at the beginning of the year, because for me, it's like, okay, yeah, let's visualize it. And I've done that before, where I'm like, oh, I want this body, I want this car, and I put it on my board, and I'm looking at it every day through the year, and I'm like, oh, I still don't have it because I don't have a plan to get there, right? What are the action steps?
Right.
So,
Funny. You're like, I still don't have it, but I'm looking at it every day. I see it, but I
see it.
Right.
So it's like, think in terms of tangibility. What can I do now that I know is going to get me a step closer? So that would be the second, which I know I already addressed. I'm kind of recapping that.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Those things. And then I have what I refer to as my 4 R's, right? That I always share and talk to people about. And I think that really helps me in terms of just being strategic, because it allows me to really understand and tap into, who I am, my core 4, right? What are my core 4 skills that I know that I can offer, that, again, I'm really not willing to take on an opportunity that does not allow and really foster and nurture these core skills that I have, and really think about what that means. So, for example, with me, if I were ever to entertain an opportunity to go back in-house, right, I know that I would have to be able to train people, manage people, work in my area of professional expertise, which would be talent acquisition, right, and function as a strategic partner. Okay? If I can't collaborate and really work with and when I say function as a strategic partner, that means with stakeholders, right? That means being able to really have an impact.
Right.
So those are my core 4, right? And then lastly, I think just, being able and being open to reinvention constantly. It's like I'm always reinventing. I'm never limiting myself. And that's what I really want to encourage people to do, because I feel like growing up, and you all, because you're both creative, so you probably relate to this. We may do multiple things well, and we have a lot of things that we like to do. And I've had people say, well, wait a minute, so you've been a recruiter, but then you also write? But then you also want to be a motivational speaker? Oh, but you're also a licensed insurance producer in 15 states, right? So it's like, yes, I'm all of those things, and you can be too,
I love it.
I'm never going to limit myself. And that's what I teach my kids. One of my sons, he's, very just intuitive, and ask a lot of questions. And he's like, wow, Mom, you've written a book, you've done this, you've done that. I don't know what I want to be. And I'm like, you'll never know exactly what it is that you want to be. I don't want you to know. The moment that this is exactly what I want to do, that's great. But don't stop there. I never want you to just limit your perspective in terms of, okay, I figured it out, I want to be a doctor. Okay? If that's a passion, do that. But if you also want to write, do that. If you also want to be an investor, do that, right? So that would be my message to your audience. Really those, I know you said 3 things, but really those 4 things in terms of, how to be strategic and proactive in looking for whatever is next for you. But also, once you accomplish that and reach and achieve that goal, not to get stagnant or feel that you have to get stuck there and stay there. When you feel it's time to reinvent, get to going and don't look back, right?
Right. Yeah,
And
we
stop
love.
caring about validation.
Oh, now
Mm.
If
that's the
God put
gem
that
right
gift in
there.
you, that's your validation right there. It wouldn't be here. You wouldn't speak. We wouldn't be speaking or trying to manifest what it is that we want if it wasn't already validated
Right.
Wow.
and a part of God's plan for us. So stop looking for that validation from other people. I know that's the human tendency,
Yeah.
to do so. But when we
Right.
see ourselves going down that path, be like, okay, I got to break away from what, I'm thinking about what other people may think and focus on this gift and validation that's been planted on me from. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that, Charlotte. I mean, you just sparked so much. Recently, Coach Kaya and I went to Atlanta, and I feel like you spoke to our story. And we went there. We went to the Tyler Perry studio, and
Wow.
yes, and that was just that experience. It's same
I
way you
can
said
imagine.
that. That's how we felt. I mean, we was only in the beginning part of it because we wasn't invited to be there. But that's another story for another day. But but the takeaway is I was telling one of my friends, about our experience. And she spoke on like one of his interviews where he said, I create for my audience. I don't create for validation. So I'm not creating to get these awards and for these critics to say they loved it. He said, I know who my population is and they love my work. And so when you said that, that's what I heard, he's creating what he was placed in him to create, and not looking to someone, we are trained like, oh, I want to be Amazon's #1 and, and all that's strategic. Like if you figure out the algorithm and how to do what you need to do, you can do that, it's just a lot of things that go into it. But when you can like just define your own self-worth and know that you've created something that's amazing, that you love and cherish, that should be the only validation truly that you need. Now, if somebody else buy it and somebody else like it, that's like a cherry on top.
But that's what happens, right? When
Right.
you reach a certain self-comfort level, self-acceptance level, right? And you start operating from that lens only, people will gravitate to you.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yes. So
I love that.
It's hard to learn, and it takes a lot of trial and error to get there.
It does.
And a lot of breakdown of just, how we've been socialized and conditioned throughout life, especially as Black women.
Yes. Speak on it. Yes.
That's
right.
Our
listeners are getting so much.
Gems.
Yes.
And Charlotte, I love what you said because it actually works in all areas of our lives. So that's a gem for mind, body, soul, spirit, and your baby. So,
thank you, Coach Kaya. Yes.
I love that.
So, I mean, clearly you're a clear boss lady. I heard you rattle off all those other jobs. I'm like, wait, we didn't read about those either. What? 15 states. Hey, that's what we do.
Don't go broke. You know what I'm saying?
No, we don't know that word. No.
Right.
God will always provide. Right. You like, I got things going. Yes. So tell us what boss lady or ladies inspired you to stand in your greatness.
Well, first and foremost, at the foundation, my mom, for sure, Dr. Marjorie Elizabeth Baker.
Hey, doctor, we heard that.
Yes, she's a professor, of social work. And which again, I learned very early on about service, through her lens and her example, and just watching and observing her. So I would say that's first and foremost. And then, of course, as I mentioned, Miss Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama, they inspire me so much because when I see them, I think, some people just see, where they've gotten to. But again, I recognize their story, especially Oprah. If you know her story, there were a lot of odds against her. She's very open about that. And so that is what I take from her, just seeing like persevere.
Yes.
Right? We've heard that word with the
Yes.
U.S. Supreme Court Justice.
Yes.
Yes, it's like, persevere. And she is that, the epitome of that, right? And so I have to go with her. She's always gonna be, next to my mama, the one that I'm gonna go with. And then Beyonce, because I live vicariously through her ability to move and dance.
That's right.
Right. And a
Boss lady.
mom.
And a mama.
Boss,
Okay.
right. A mogul.
Yes, that's a boss
We love
lady.
Beyonce.
Yes.
Yes. Those coins are always coming in.
Absolutely.
And she already don't set up Blue too. Blue already got her money, right?
Yes. What a great example to
What a wonderful
watch, to see, And I think at the core of all the women that I admire, humility is at the core.
You're right.
Yeah, that matters.
Yeah, and never losing sight of where you come from and how it all started.
Yeah.
And never giving up on the greatness that's to come in your future.
Right.
Powerful.
And I think that they all exemplify that. Yes, I got to this point, but I mean, we could say they all got enough money, they could sit back and just we never had to see them again. But yet they're always reinventing themselves. They're always doing something to impact. And through that, I believe it's because at their core, they desire to serve.
Mm.
So that's why I always like to say sharing is my service.
Yes. You give and God gives back. Yes. Yes. Yes.
The cycle of reciprocity,
Yes.
Giving commences really that cycle of reciprocity.
Right. Oh my gosh, we're so connected in so many different ways.
The
Ohio, the USC, social work. Oh my goodness. Yes. And just the vibrations, the creativity,
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
We have to all get together after all of this.
Yes, we do.
Now that the pandemic is, hopefully.
Yes, we are.
On its way out.
I mean, of the many things I love about you, you really make it plain. Like, you are candid. There's not a lot of confusion. You really make your goals feel attainable. Right. And I love that. And I love what else you said is that basically you said money's not the end goal, right? So once your bank account is thriving in abundance, what is behind that? It's the dreams. It's your passion. Like Oprah doesn't want to be bored.
No.
It's not about money at some point. Money is a motivator, right? But
absolutely
not the end goal.
Yes. And Oprah talks about that a lot. I've heard her say that before, like, I'm going to keep on going. I'm still here, so
yeah,
it's true, no matter the age. I look at my mom. I told her age recently in a public forum.
Oops.
Which I told her I was going to do.
Oh.
We'll talk about that offline.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say her age.
Don't do it.
But I will say she has a lot of experience in life.
Okay.
And she's still dreaming and still taking steps towards her dreams.
Hello.
So right. I think, that just gives so much hope to people, when it's like, it never has to stop.
No.
And it shouldn't stop.
Exactly. I think that's the thing that fuels us. When you stop dreaming or stop aspiring, I mean, that's a part of you, And so I definitely agree with that. And then, I mean, that as your role model, clearly you can't stop dreaming and aspiring. Mama's still doing it, right?
Yes,
She'd be like, what you doing? Yeah.
Girl, what you doing sitting down?
Right. You got to keep going. Right. That drive.
What's next? And that's what we always ask each other. I ask my girlfriends that all the time. What's next? What's next? Somebody like, oh, I got a promotion. That's amazing. So what's next? Right?
I like that.
Oh, I made my first million. I got $1 million. Okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Right. So,
Right.
you want to surround yourself with people that are constantly asking you, what's next, Monica
Mm.
L? What's next,
Right.
Coach Kaya?
Mm.
What's next?
Yes.
Right.
That's
like
great that
that.
you achieved this, but
What's next?
what's
You
I
still
like
next?
here.
that.
Let's go. Let's boss up
Right.
again and again
Yes.
and again.
I'm going to make that my next motivational Monday.
Yeah, I like that. What's next? And boss
What's
up.
That's
next?
good,
Yes.
Charla.
Yes.
Look, that's a good word, Miss Charla.
Yes. Yes. And then with that, I mean, our listeners definitely want to connect with you so they don't miss out
I
on
would
anything and
love
get all
that.
these jewels, especially with the Motivational Monday and your book. So what's the best way to connect with you?
Yes, at the heart of everything I do is engagement. I love to engage, so please connect. So I would say Instagram is really a great way. I'm at Charla _ Baker_Jackson. So Charla Baker-Jackson's the name, but underscore between each name. I'm also at the Candid Recruiter. Both of those will lead you to the next, and all my link tree and all those things, so that you can see what I have going on, and I just say hello. And we have to step up and talk to one another, ask how we can help. And I know we're wrapping up, but I will say this, because one of the number one questions that I get asked in an interview, or when I'm coaching rather, is, how do I ask people for what I want? Right? Because so often, you'll hear people, they're like, oh, I want to meet this person. I want to network with this person. But when I do, what do I say? Because I don't want them to think, why don't you want them to think? You should want them to
LA.
think.
You know that LA.
Right. You know what I mean?
You got to play a game.
Yes. It's like, why don't you want them to know that this is what you want to do? And so I always tell people, you have to get more comfortable in, as we talk throughout, speaking your intentions. If I want to have a virtual coffee with someone, I'm not just saying, hi, I wanted to see if you wanted to meet for a virtual coffee. They were like, who in the world is this? Why would I help? Right? But no, I say, hi, I see that you're doing this in the creative space, and I'm lacking knowledge in that area, and I really have a desire to learn more about the programming experience. And I see that you're an expert in programming. Would you be open to having coffee with me so that I can pick your brain, or whatever, it may be? But again, who's going to say, if they say no, okay. But most people have a desire to help. Most people don't want to feel like they don't know your motives and they don't know your intentions, right?
Right.
So being more comfortable. So please reach out to me. Let me know how I may be able to help, if it's something or an area of, that I touched upon during today's Boss Lady Conversations. Because if I can help, I will. If I don't know, I may know someone who can help. And I love helping connect and engage with others. So that's it.
Sharla, how can boss ladies join the Career Collective?
I will send you my repository link, but it's also, if you follow me on Instagram at Charla _ Baker_Jackson, you'll see my link tree, and you can go to my site and join the repository that way as well.
Wow.
All right. You're going to see Kaya, Monica L.
Yes.
Help.
Yes.
Please help.
That's amazing. Oh, we have so enjoyed you today. Your genuine spirit, your generosity, your realness. Oh, so many gems.
Thank you.
Yes. At
the Candid Recruiter. One thing I always try to be, as you said, is candid. As honest as I possibly can be. So I'm glad you received that, and hope I was able to help and inspire.
Absolutely. Wait till you hear this recap. So at the end of every show, we definitely like to recap for our boss ladies. Some of the gems, there's no way we can recap all of them.
Yes.
You have to listen again, because there are so many gems in every episode, and especially with Miss Charlotte today. So number one, All wonderful career moves start with you. Take time to recognize your gifts, your talent, your creativity, and your self-care. Number two, know and understand your deal makers and your deal breakers. Compromise should never go below your bottom line.
Yes.
A lot of people have goals, but no strategic plan. It's important to write down actionable items to achieve. Focus on steps 1 through 5 and work through those first. It's important to understand the long-term impact. Number 4, plant seeds so that every step of the way, your name is being mentioned in rooms before you ever walk through the door.
Yes.
How can you build and connect long before you get your dream opportunities? Number 5, here are some gems to take with you before you accept your next offer. Number 1, what is their vision and plan for you or this role?
Mhm.
Number 2, look beyond the benefits package. Number 3, map out your action plan. And number 4, think about your 4 core skills. Be open to reinvention and never, ever, ever limit yourself.
Yes.
And finally, boss ladies, if God put that gift in you, that's your validation. Stop looking for it elsewhere.
Oh,
That's all you
Yes.
say.
thank you for that. I love that. What an amazing recap. How did you capture all that so beautifully?
Oh,
made it
that's
very
her skill
easy.
set. That is her skill set. Coach Kaya does that. She got it mapped out. I just try to follow along. I just try
love
to
it.
remember when it's time for me to talk and speak. Other than Coach Kaya can multitask like no other.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I got you on the marketing end. So,
Yes.
we understand
Yes.
our lanes and we really try to operate in them.
Yes, and we are scripted but not scripted. Yes. So that's behind the scenes. So yes. So we really hope everyone have enjoyed connecting with the wonderful boss
Amazing.
lady,
Thank you.
Charla Baker-Jackson, and to learn more about how you can boss up and elevate your business. Thank you so much, Charla. Please come back and see us again.
Anytime. Thank you for having me. This has been amazing.
We feel the
I
same way.
really
We appreciate
appreciate
you.
it.
Absolutely.
And I needed it. I needed this.
We all did.
Mhm.
Yes.
We all did.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.